if I do something that I know may make my wife upset, there's a possibility that might push sex down the road a few more days.
Yeah.
Which is a very like selfish way of thinking, but I think it's very real.
And I think if that's a reality, which I think is for quite a few people, those are rhythms that you set. I know if I essentially do this thing and I get this type of response subconsciously, don't do that.
Yeah.
Because it's going to jeopardize what I want. It's the lie that you're the only one. Like, this is just you. Or even if you have this concept that, I know it's not just me, but yours is the greatest.
I think my lie often is hanging out with someone is not as beneficial as doing more work, right?
The biggest hurdle will be getting past yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's it, man. Like, we are our biggest hurdle.
Welcome to the show. My name's Logan. I'm a licensed professional counselor here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm here with my friend Alexis. Alexis, how you doing today, man?
What's up? I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for coming by. How's your week been? How you coming in? How's your In-N-Out burger shirt going for you?
Man, I miss In-N-Out so bad. Every time I wear it, it makes me happy and sad.
Yeah.
But they're opening one in Tennessee.
Really?
And so we're going to make the trek and the journey.
So Alexis is from LA. I'm not from LA.
Ooh, not from LA.
Oh, sorry.
From the Inland Empire.
Yeah,
So
I'm an ignorant East Coaster. Everything west of the Mississippi is LA. It's just
that makes sense.
everything out that way.
Yeah, I'm 50 minutes east of
Oh,
LA.
okay.
San Bernardino.
I've been there. I haven't actually been there, but I've eaten out once, and as most East Coast folks feel, it's like cool.
We're probably not ordering the right thing.
There's
I
only like 3 things on the menu.
No, yeah, but there's also the secret menu. So that's a different topic for another time.
Okay,
but
whatever.
I get really sad when it's compared to Whataburger.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay, good. Then don't know.
Is that also a West Coast thing?
No, it's not.
Oh.
I don't know where it originated, but people try to say they're the same, and that Whataburger.
It's kind of like on the East Coast. Have you heard like there's like cherry Coke, and then there's like in North Carolina some other kind of cherry Coke thing.
Dude,
I don't even know the name, but people are like, "Hey, don't mix up cherry Coke with this other drink."
Cherry Pepsi?
No. I don't even know if Pepsi has even ventured into that game, but people are vicious when it comes to their nostalgic food.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is very true.
But being from LA, you moved to Atlanta how many years ago?
Inland Empire.
Oh man, gosh, dude, anything west, I'm telling you, man.
I love it. Because then there's going to be people who are like, "Oh, where in LA are you from?" And if I say it, they're like, "This guy's a poser. He's not from LA." Well, I proudly.
So you're saving your own street cred.
I proudly rock the Inland Empire.
No, yeah.
But Southern California, born and raised. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sorry, what was the question?
You moved to Atlanta in
2020.
2020. That's when Alexis and I met.
Yeah. Been
friends since then.
We met in the middle of the pandemic.
We did.
Good times.
We did. Had masks on. We touched our fingers together because we get closer than that. But then we've become friends. We've moved around, and so we're not as close together house-wise, proximity-wise as we have been. But I think within that, I've been thinking about our relationship, our friendship, and how it's changed over the years. As context, we're both dads. I'm a dad of 2. Alexis is
I'm a father of 5.
5 and a dog.
And a dog.
So sometimes 6. And we're both married, have wives. Well, we each have one wife. One wife. I would say
plural
wives.
In terms of
yeah, collective. Well, not we each have one wife. Yeah. Anyways, I've been thinking about friendship in the context of being a dad, being a husband, life going on. We both work. And so I'm just curious, man, what's that experience been like for you as a man trying to find community in this season of life with kids, with a spouse, with a dog, with work?
Yeah.
What does it look like?
Yeah. So just I guess a little bit of background. I currently work at a church in East Point, Georgia, called East Point Church.
Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Georgia.
I would sing, but my voice sounds,
I can play a trumpet for you.
Sounds. Thank you. Some background music while I speak. Lo-fi beats in the background.
So MS, what's it called? Something SR? MS? Not beatboxing, but like just like sounds. Anyways.
ASMR, whatever. Something like that. It's people who like to hear real weird noises. And so, yeah, I work at a church, East Point Church, here in Atlanta, Georgia. And like I said, I have 5 kids. Their ages are 10, 9, 8, 3, and 1.
Wow.
And so I guess in this season of life, what friendships look like primarily come out of the church.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
people that are there that I know,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to connect with.
Yeah. So it's kind of like out of, hey, this is where I'm already at. So how do I just like make friends where I'm already at?
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's not, hey, let me go and try to find whether it's a social club or something more exterior. Like that's just another added reality of taking time either away from the family or trying to get the family engaged in something that they might not want to be part of.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out a community there.
Yeah. But does that mean for you then like, hey, I'm friends with the other people who work there, the staff, or because like, hey, I'm already there, so I'm friends with the staff, and that's people I hang out with, or you mean people like who just go to the church, you've just become friends with them in terms of at the church, or they come to your house, or you have more weekly stuff during the week? What is that?
Yeah, it looks like, I'd say for my personality, it looks like actually engaging with people there at the church. So I wouldn't say, I think it's okay to say we don't have like the strongest during the week community. It's kind of, hey, we're there on Sundays. There's like a midweek service. Yeah. But there's not a whole lot of like, man, we have a strong home groups or, whatever you call those for some people. Yeah. There's people connecting all the time during the week, just given the reality of kids' schools or work, and then kids going to bed. So when do you hang out? So all that stuff.
They finally put their head on the pillow, come out 15 minutes later.
Oh my gosh.
Go back to bed, please.
Yes.
Your mom and I need to.
But I'm thirsty.
Yeah.
I got, my toe hurts.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially like, you're like, all right, hey babe, kids are going down. Hey, like 8 o'clock. Hey, we trying. So good. Hey, and then like 8:15, they're knocking, and they're like, all right. By 10 o'clock, you're like, okay, we're done. We'll try again tomorrow.
Not me. Nah, bro.
Hey,
win it.
Hey, I've been looking at the clock. Here we go.
Yes, sir. Yes,
sir. But so I mean, obviously, you being at the church, I'm being in counseling. We both work with a lot with men in that aspect. And outside of your own experience, and I'll share too. Like, I don't know, what do you hear men saying when they're in similar situations as we are, dads, husbands, working? Like, do you hear much about like their struggle to be in consistent community? Do you hear them even talking about like, hey, I'm even aware that I want it, or I'm not even aware because I'm just like in go mode?
Yeah, I think it depends. Everybody, their season of life, even personality wise too. Yeah. I think there's people who recognize that they want it. Yeah. And just don't see a tangible way of having it. Yeah. I think there's some people who see Sunday as enough. Yeah. Like, hey, all right, I got to talk to you kind of, and now I'm going to leave. And I think there's some people who are struggling between, I feel like sometimes it's a decision of either this or that. So it's either my family or it's community or hanging out with guys. Yeah. And not a reality of like, it can be all of it together.
Yeah. Do you hear any people like talk about like feeling guilty for like going and hang out with people and like their wife staying at home? I hear that. I don't know if you.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know if you feel that even, but like.
I'd say season of life.
It's okay for like, hey, deuces, Aubrey.
Yeah. I don't feel bad, and I think part of it is because I know, and we've talked about, it's needed.
Yeah, for sure.
I actually will be, if I'm honest with myself, and I think connecting in healthy ways, it makes me a healthier person 100%. For my family. Yeah. So it's not me trying to escape my family, but it's actually, I'd say, growing and developing myself so that when I come back, I can be better with my family.
Yeah. I can even tell with Jenny, sometimes I'm like, okay, someone invited me to something, man, I feel bad. She hasn't gone hang out with any of her friends recently or whatever it may be. And I want to go, but I also don't want to like make her just be here by herself. And I think in some ways I use that as an excuse because sometimes I don't want to put out the effort to actually go. Like it's easy to be like, oh man, like I just feel bad. When really I know going takes effort, will make me feel a bit uncomfortable. And so it's easy just for the out of like saying I feel guilty. But I think there is sometimes too, then this aspect of like, some people I think really do feel guilty, of leaving and, will my wife be alone? When I get back, will she be upset with me? Will she like be bitter that I got hung out with friends and she didn't? And I think while that there's like some validity there, I think there's probably a lot to like push into in terms of what outside of that moment, what's actually conversation with your wife look like in terms of friendship, right?
Yeah.
If there's only like, hey, the only time we would talk about our friendship or how lonely we are is when one of us is legally going out to hang out with somebody and the other person feels bad, and there's just kind of like this defensiveness compared to, how do we actually have conversations outside of these moments of like, how do we actually like achieve what you need, right? And like, there's more like, hey, I actually feel seen, I actually feel appreciated, and so when you go out to hang out with people, I don't feel like I'm getting the short end of the stick because I know we've talked about how I can get that too, right?
Yeah. And again, I think something that like, as you're talking, that I think about is a reality of self-awareness.
Yeah.
So many people come in different places. Like, I mean, being a licensed therapist, there's a degree to where you learn the human mind. And so
I'm reading it right now.
But I think in that self-awareness, and and even that, does that word, you're like, I don't know what that even really means. Okay, that's your starting point. And some people are very self-aware, mind, soul, body, in terms of, I know what my body's even telling me as I'm thinking these things or having this conversation with my wife.
Yeah.
And so I think some of it comes to whether it's the frustration, like, am I worried that she's going to be frustrated with me?
Yeah.
It's not about you going out.
Yeah.
It's about something that she's also missing out on.
Yeah.
It's something that she's desiring that she's not getting.
100%. She's not just upset with you. She's upset that she's like lacking that in her own life. Yeah.
And so I think, can you actually press deeper into that more than the frustration that you went out with your friends?
100%.
100%. And being able to communicate, I'm not just going out with my friends.
Yeah.
This is life-giving.
100%.
Hopefully it's a life-giving situation. I mean, if you're just going out to, I don't know, get plastered or something like that, it's not very life-giving.
Yeah. Which we can talk about too here in a minute, about just like, there are times when guys hang out and then you leave and you're like, cool. Like I
should have just stayed home.
Yeah.
Ate some pizza rolls, watched a movie with my wife.
Yeah. Been the same thing. Yeah. And I think too, I'm curious, I'm not saying this is like all the time, but just being a guy, I'm aware of my own stuff of like, I think there are times like, man, if I do something that I know may make my wife upset, there's a possibility that might push sex down the road a few more days, because if my wife's upset, we're not going to have sex. And so like, not that that's our explicitly, but in some ways, part of it is like, all right, if I can keep my wife happy, maybe we can. Which is a very like sad and twisted way, very like selfish way of thinking, but I think it's very real in terms of when you're kind of like aware of how something may impact her mood. Right.
And I think if that's a reality, which I think is for quite a few people, those are rhythms that you've set, even subconsciously. For sure. Right? Like that's a rhythm that you've created. Okay, I know if I essentially do this thing and I get this type of response subconsciously, don't do that. Because it's going to jeopardize what I want or what I need. So I think that's a really good point. And I think that's why it won't be easy, but communicating is huge, right? Communicating, not just, I want to go out. But before you even ask to go out, are you both communicating your desires and needs in relationship? Right? Like, obviously, well, hopefully in your marriage, you want to be with one another. You want to hang out with each other. You love and care for one another. But we're not built to just be satisfied in this marriage. I think we are built and created to thrive in community. And so being able to communicate those things, and then communicating with your spouse, hey, are you not just thinking about yourself, but her as well? If you're a better human for connecting with people, don't you want her to be a better human connecting with others? So do you also make space for her, saying, hey, what does it look like for you to also get out? Like, because I think you need this. And again, just depending on where they're at, whether the wife's like, well, I don't have any friends. Okay. Then what's our first step of getting some friends, if you will, and seeing that happen. And it's might be awkward or uncomfortable the first time you go out, but just like anything, once you do it after a while, you recognize just the benefit. But are you being proactive, not just in your life, but I'd say in the life of your wife as well?
Yeah, no, man, that's good. Hang on. Hello, Jenny. Hey, Jenny. Hey, you there?
What's up, babe?
You've been smoking?
What? Trying to fit in.
Well, your voice gotten much. You roll? Is this a new thing? What's going on?
What do you wear?
Hey, sugar lips. It's me.
Are you wearing those pants I like?
Hey, I just want to let you know, Alexis called me. I'm going to go over to his house tonight.
I thought we were going to hang out tonight. Also, side note, we just went back to the 90s because we don't have our iPhones. We have our...
Yeah, you can call me on my cell phone. Anyways, I know. Sorry, late. No, I meant to tell you earlier, and I forgot. He actually asked me like last week, but I'm...
Yeah, but we haven't hung out, and it's been terrible.
Yeah,
the
but
kids
we're
are
just
going
gonna
crazy.
we're just gonna like watch TV. We always it's like I thought I just could go.
No, I've literally been. I'm tired.
Okay. All right. I'll see you later.
Fine.
Hey.
Bye.
Ring.
Hello.
Hey. Hey, babe. You still been smoking, but I have a question for you. I'm so sorry. I meant to tell you this the other week. Lexi's had asked me if I could come over tonight. I know you haven't seen your friends in a while either. Anyway, if we have a plan going over tonight, we can look at our calendar and see if like any way that you can get together with some folks in the next week or two. I don't want to just feel like I'm the only one getting out here, but I do want to like start this conversation about hanging out with folks.
This is kind of frustrating.
I know.
But I know. Hear and hopefully
I take ownership of waiting until the last minute.
Hopefully understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And maybe we can work around that and figure that out. I still want to spend some time with you.
So maybe like when I get home, you can be wearing that robe. Don't end that way.
Hello? Hello?
Jenny?
Are you still there?
Babe?
All right, so you're putting the robe on, right?
Yeah. She must, that's why she hung up. She must be putting the robe on. That's gotta be it. Sure. Yeah. And obviously it's not that smooth, but I think like, just like there are ways of like, man, like, am I just gonna, how do I be mindful and thoughtful essentially, right? Is what we're.
And I think to that point, like, can you be also thoughtful before you leave?
Yeah.
Like, can you make a plan to say, how do I set up my wife?
Yeah, 100%.
Again, with whether it's little kids, can I, and again, I personally don't do, what I'm about to say to get something when I get back.
Sure.
It's like, man, how do I slow down and be like, depending on, does my wife work or is she with the kids? What that looks like.
Yeah.
Man, how do I make sure the dishes are cleaned up, that tables like are, things can be set up as much as possible, that even setting up one of her favorite snacks.
Yeah, man.
Like,
No, I think it's very,
I'm gonna, I'll open a bottle of wine for you and leave out some snacks and, turn on the TV for you on your favorite show.
Yeah. And I really think for guys truly doing all that, as you're saying, and like, man, Logan, I am doing this. I really want to serve my wife. There's like, and even if there's a back part of me, it's like, oh, maybe she'll like, no, Logan. It's okay. Like, you don't, like, this is not to serve me at all. This is truly just, and I think it's okay. I think there's sometimes a fear, like all these things pop up in my mind. They're going to pop up sometimes. That's okay. It's more of like, how are we going to address them? Yeah. The willingness to like push it back and say, no, like that's a thought that is there. And that's not my intent. That's not what I'm going to do. Yeah. I just want to love my wife.
And I think if it comes up, if it's been without realizing a habit of yours that you've done before, I don't think we should ever be surprised if our wife calls us out on it.
Yeah.
But do we press into it?
For
your
sure.
Point? I think being able to say like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and this might be an uncomfortable, hard conversation.
Yeah. And honestly, man, I think it's a great like. This can kind of even tie into the conversation future about like how to have deeper conversation with men. But is that something I can be aware of? And when I go to hang out with Alexis that night, I'm like, dude, do you ever feel like sometimes like if you ever help your wife at night, like you can tell like these thoughts come in like, oh, maybe this will lead X, Y, and Z, and just a struggle with being selfish, right? I think that's like the vulnerability piece of like how to actually make use of this time to be known. And so part of it is like, hey, if I can tell a thought is there, don't be scared of it. But just like how do I actually begin to be honest with other dudes? Like, man, this is a part of me that I don't like that is there, and I would just need some help kind of getting it. Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that you found a lot of your community in the context of church, the kind of just like proximity, people there. I'm curious. I don't know what we both kind of would tell men who are like, hey, like I just being a dad, being a husband, working. Man, it's hard for me to find time. Like, how would you encourage them? I can share thoughts too, just in terms of like, yeah, how I would kind of get them to kind of make that move towards that.
Yeah, towards like friendship
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, for
connecting
sure.
with people. Um, I would, I would say that honestly, to like how to build deep friendships and relationships.
Yeah,
Now, these are the guys that I just go and hang out with, and I kind of know their names. I mean, there's guys who joke about that all the time.
yeah,
Comedians about how guys can hang out and literally never know each
yeah,
other's names
yeah,
for years,
yeah,
or who they're even married to,
for
or
sure.
their life, or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Wait, you have life.
Wait,
You have job.
you don't just
You.
come here.
Oh no, I know your job because that's what we talk about. I know your sports teams are, but I don't know.
I don't know about that birthmark.
You have a you have a you have a fish. You have a pet. You like. Anyways.
You enjoy gardening. But I think it's actually confronting our fears.
Mm.
What am I afraid of?
Yeah.
Right? Whether it could be as simple as I'm afraid of looking stupid.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of looking soft. I'm
Yeah.
afraid of
Yeah.
how I'll be perceived. I'm
Yeah.
afraid that I'll just be seen as insert whatever thing here. And also I'm just like, what if I'm the only one? What if I'm the only one who actually wants real relationships in terms of people to know the things I'm struggling with or afraid of or dealing with or the things that keep me up at night? What if I'm the only guy in this group of guys, or if I were to go out and talk to somebody like that wants to do this, and if I share that, I'm just gonna look dumb.
Yeah.
And so why even put in the effort?
Yeah.
Because then I'll remember that the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like I did when I was in middle school or elementary school.
Sure.
And I don't want to feel stupid like that ever again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, for sure. I think what comes to mind for me is like, man, I get that guys are exhausted. I get they're tired. You've been working. You come home. You help with kids. You do whatever. And then at the end of the day, like, man, like I just don't want to do anything. I want to like watch TV. I want to play video games. But I hear a lot of video game playing. Because I think it's important. Like, all right, let's take a step back and like a very realistic look at your schedule, right? Like, so are you telling me that you don't have time because Monday through Friday, like every night, you're truly booked, like once you get home, or no, I don't have events going on every night. I'm tired at night and I just want to play video games or whatever it may be, or on the weekends or whatever. And I think it's either if you do have like a lot of events planned, hopefully there are people there. And so either how do you actually like find the relationships in those events to actually begin to pursue and go deeper? Or B, if you're just tired at night, then I think there has to be an acknowledgement of I'm not going to have the energy, and I need to be aware enough to know like on Thursday night, I'm just not going to come home on Thursday. I'm like, hey, let me reach out to Alexis tonight. I'm probably just going to be tired and not want to. And so I have to actually like either take initiative and put it on the calendar, or B, if you text me at some point a week before. I think sometimes the most difficult thing is when someone does text you to actually quickly text them back and just say yes. We sit on it for too long and it's like, oh man, I forgot to respond to this guy and now it's too late, so I'm not going to go. Compared to, nope, my goal is anytime someone asks me to do something, I'm going to say yes. I'm also going to initiate, and I'm going to actually begin to look at my calendar ahead of time, because I think if we just wait to like the week of, day of, whatever, I mean, I even know it's just hard for me to like get the energy to do something like that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I would encourage guys to kind of look into that. Because while we're tired, I doubt that there's no time. It's just the willingness to make time.
Yeah, and I think it's you can always come up with a million reasons why not.
Yeah.
To your point, being tired, I think it's really real.
Yeah.
Especially depending on season of life with, if you have kids, season of life of even marriage.
Yeah.
All those things can feel exhausting, and to just let your brain, if you will, relax sounds nice.
Yeah.
But sometimes that can even dip into you're not even relaxing at this point. All you're doing is just trying to numb out.
Yeah.
And so I think it's even trying to have like projecting into the actual benefits of why this would be good.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't want to sit in traffic. I don't want to get in the car.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't want to like figure out if this is even worth it with this person.
Yeah.
So it's so much easier. My habit of my TV's there, the game console's on, or whatever it is that you do.
Yeah.
And I can just be here.
Yeah.
And then usually when you're done, you still feel like crap.
Yeah.
You still feel lonely and want to hang out with somebody. But it just didn't seem worth it in that moment. So I think part of to your point is like maybe even being accountable with your wife, like communicating again.
Yeah.
Does she know, man, I in theory want this, but I'm tired.
Yeah.
And so can both of you encourage one another? Okay, hey, who's someone you like to hang out with?
Yeah.
Or who's someone you've wanted to hang out with?
Yeah.
Shoot him a text right now.
Yeah.
Hey, want to go out for a drink or hang out? I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. I think what you said too is important of like remembering, man, like these relationships are life-giving, right? Because I think the aspect of if you're tired, there's this like thought, it's another thing. I'm going to go and just be exhausted. When I think looking at our relationships almost as like what things in our life like charge our batteries, give us life, give us energy, and what things drain us. And work may drain you. I don't know, bath time for kids may be exhausting, whatever else may be tiring, but like finding relationships that are actually like life-giving, that actually, hey, when I finish hanging out with you, I actually feel charged. And I think there is a difference in like, I could hang out with you and I can feel charged because we talk about things that are like of depth and I feel known, I feel encouraged. Whereas if we hang out, and we just watch TV and eat Kit Kat bars and eat some pizza bites. Pizza bites?
Can I have
bagel bites?
Reese's Cups? Bagel bites.
Bagel bites. Pizza
Dude,
rolls.
I could crush some bagel bites. That's not good.
You can crush what?
Bagel bites?
Dude.
I could like
I remember
throw down.
when I was in high school, post dance, I think it was after Sadie Hawkins dance in my khaki pants. There's nothing better, as they say.
Oh.
Yeah, I came home and I was like, man, I am hungry. I want to put some bagel bites in the oven. And so I put these bagel bites in the oven and I lay down on the couch. Next thing I know, I woke up, it was 8 a.m. and my whole house was full of smoke. No joke.
What?
These things had like burnt down to like these tiny charcoal
smoke
balls.
alarm in this house?
Hey, in Kentucky, we just live it up. In Kentucky, hey, you know what?
What time did you go to sleep?
If there's smoke, let's just bring out the pigs and let's roast them right here around the smoke. And no, I woke up because my parents. I didn't wake up first. My parents woke up and they're like, "What is going on?" And then I had to explain. Oh yeah, I got pretty hungry last night.
Like 6 hours ago, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I laid down. That was a bad choice. Anyways, there was no damage, so that's great. Anyways, we could just eat bagel bites and watch Netflix or hang out and do whatever, but I think and that is then like more. I don't feel like recharged, right? It's like cool, like. And so I think being intentional when you do have that time, which takes energy to be intentional, but this understanding of like, hey, I gave this much and it actually gave me back more compared to like seeing this investment. It's like I'm going to invest time in this person and it's just going to like drain compared to this investment actually returns. Like,
and I think too, like making the distinction, it doesn't mean be busy all the time. It doesn't mean like you need to be talking to somebody, like don't play video games or watch TV ever again. But are we, again, I think honest with ourselves of what is it that I'm trying to accomplish right now? Am I truly like, man, I've been able to connect with some guys, with my wife, with my kids. And right now I just, want to play some Super Smash. I don't know.
Right now I want to catch this Charizard.
Exactly. Or is it, I've been doing this every night for 4 hours and then I just go to bed exhausted. And something that you said of like, man, tired, putting kids to bed, work, all these things. I think another like reality that exhausts us constantly more than we even realize is our own minds. That we're not just exhausted from the activity of what we're doing, but the stories we keep telling ourselves after we're done doing all those things.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And so I think part of it too is I cannot think about, am I actually being a good dad? I don't have to think about the questions anymore of like, am I being better than my parents? Am I sucking at this? Does my wife even love me? Do I even matter? Right?
Hello, Alexis. This is your internal mind.
I know it probably sounds...
You need to... Hey, is your internal mind also a smoker? Hey, Alexis. You
smoking for for 40 years. I told my wife, I've never lost my voice. And it's been, I think, like 3 weeks.
Wow.
And I don't know if it's, she says she thinks it's the pollen and stuff. Like there's people who lose their voices.
Yeah.
But it is frustrating.
Wow.
I hate,
Yeah.
I probably sound terrible.
Yeah. No,
It's
Jenny.
not my normal voice.
Yeah.
It'll come back at some point.
He's
one
not
day.
part Bane.
The people.
You
Be it for the people.
I was born in it.
Give it to you.
But yeah, man, I think I think the mind can be exhausting, right? If not like aware of, hey, these thoughts are going on. How do I moderate these thoughts? And again, I think that's like a pre-planning thing of these are there. How do I begin to talk to people about these, my friends about these, my wife? The longer they just stay in there, the more they're just going to fester. And so the more I can actually like start working on that, then hopefully a few months down the road, when I need to make these choices of hanging out with people or whatever, like it doesn't feel as overwhelming. So it's not just like a moment of thing, but truly is like working on like, how do I navigate those lies that pop in?
So that is the lie that you're the only one. Like this is just you. Or even if you have this concept that, I know it's not just me, but yours is the greatest.
Yeah.
Your struggle, your failures, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Where when we actually talk to people about this and they go, yeah, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
It's encouraging. Or maybe it's someone who doesn't fully understand that.
Yeah.
But they're like, man, I think I could get that because that sounds hard.
Yeah.
So like for me, right? My situation, as you know, is I have 3 adopted children.
Yeah.
2 biological. So my 3 oldest are adopted.
Yeah.
Those 3 are biological siblings. So when my wife and I became parents, we became parents to 3 children.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
And at that time there were 3, 2, 1. And so that like, there's not very many people around us at that time that were like, man, I totally get it. What it's like to just all of a sudden have 3 kids that are not infants.
Yeah.
And so that can feel lonely.
Yeah.
But when I could share different things that were going on, they're like, I don't understand your situation necessarily, but I get that feeling of that type of exhaustion or that type of frustration or loneliness. Or some people are just like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But I still like want to walk with you in that. And thanks for like sharing those things.
Yeah.
That kind of sucks. And I just want you to know that I'm here with you.
Yeah. So I think it's a good example for you. You're saying you didn't need them to respond in a way that was like, oh, we completely get it. Just like that they're willing to even say, hey, I don't get it. And like, cool. Like, however I can just like sit here, ask questions, be present. Like that's helpful.
Yeah. And ask me questions, right?
Yeah.
And listened and wanted to continue to know.
Yeah.
But I think even that, like, it didn't just lead to, okay, there's like a separate group of guys that I hang out with.
Yeah.
That my family doesn't know anything about.
Yeah.
They started becoming, in a way, part of my family.
Yeah.
Right? Our family started getting together, what that looks like. And so now these people didn't just hear about what it was like. They got insight into what my life started looking like. So there was connection away from my family.
Yeah.
But I think as you build healthy, helpful, encouraging relationships, I think naturally they're going to start becoming part of your family. It's no longer like a separate thing. And that takes time. But
Yeah. No, I think it's encouraging and helpful, and knowing that it does take time to get there. When I think about even my own, talking about the mind and the lies, I think my lie often is like, I'm trying to think why if I don't want to go hang out with someone at night, I think there's this belief that in some way, if I stay home, I will be more, the only thing I can think is like productive. And if I'm more productive, then I'll be more successful. I think there's a belief that hanging out with someone is not as beneficial as doing more work, right? And so this is a lie within me that I want to be successful, and if I'm not successful, then I'm not enough, right? And so hanging out with people does not fulfill that. So therefore, why choose that over doing more things that can like make me feel more successful? Problem is, like, for me, like, that it's a lie. It's not true, right? I'm chasing a ghost. Like it doesn't matter how much I do. It's never enough compared to actually getting to know, actually like allowing someone to know me and building a relationship. Actually begins and makes me feel much more connected and known and more just like fulfilled, more full of life than if whatever I were to actually accomplish, right? And so I think I have to constantly push back on this lie of what it means to be enough, and knowing whatever I'm chasing is not ever going to make me be enough. What's actually going to make me feel like enough is being known and allowing myself to be fully known, not just like fake part of me being known, but like truly known. And that just takes honesty and time and vulnerability. And it's scary for sure.
Oh,
But
heck yeah.
it's a heck of a lot better than like hanging out with someone for a year. Like, man, no one, like I still feel alone because no one really knows me.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah.
That's a waste of time.
Yeah.
What do you think? So you said like wanting to feel like I'm productive, accomplishing something successful.
Yeah.
Who are you being successful for? Like when you think about that, like if I do these things, if
Yeah.
I am more productive at home, I'm gonna be more successful. For who?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I have a certain expectation of myself to like be at a certain spot, based upon like my dad's success, what he did. I think there's some sense of like, oh, if he did X, that means if I don't go a little bit further or whatever, then like I've failed. Like he's given me whatever this much, so it's my responsibility to like multiply it. If I can't figure that out, then I'm a failure, right? And multiplying that would then help my own family. And so I think in some ways I don't want to let him down. I think also I don't want to like, if I can't accomplish that, then I feel like I've failed, just in my own personal like belief of who I am. And so I think a lot of it is knowing, one, my dad doesn't really, it's just not something I've put on him. He doesn't really care about that for me. And then two, for my own self, like, man, like, again, I can chase all of that. I was listening to Bono's song, the U2 song, Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. Still haven't found what I'm looking for. I'm not sure how much I can sing before they think, oh, Bono's singing that. And so they cut the, YouTube cuts the video.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm not going to sing
You
anymore.
don't want to trick the people.
I don't want to trick the YouTubes because they're pretty good with AI and my voice is pretty similar. But the song talks about, how he's like ran and climbed all these mountains and whatnot to get to this thing. And he realized, man, it's still not even like, and I think there's an element I'm aware of, like I can fight and climb and crawl and do whatever to get to the spot. But then when you get there, like, this is all it is. And so I think for me, it's much more learning more and more like, man, it's less about what I'm really trying to accomplish or go, and more about, one, who I am in terms of my own identity, who my friends, how I'm connected. And two, I think this like flip side of more spiritual sense of like understanding, man, one has like the song like, I have done all these things and still haven't found what I'm looking for. But this belief for me, like, oh, there's actually one. There is someone, right, who has actually crawled, scaled walls, stuff to be with me, right? In the sense of like what Jesus has done, where he has gone through in order to be here. And like the more I can rest assured in that, the less like, oh, it's more about my own accomplishments and success, right? And so I think there is a difficulty to get past lies if there's not like a bigger sense of self than just myself, right? And so.
Yeah. I think, like you said, like the biggest hurdle will be getting past yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's it, man. Like we are our biggest hurdle.
Have you ever tried to hurdle yourself?
It doesn't turn out super well.
Yeah.
Might break your neck or something.
Yeah. My brain's like, I'm trying to like picture like that as like I can't even like
pull a hamstring.
Yeah, I can't even picture what that would look like to try to hurdle yourself.
We'll try it sometime outside.
Okay.
Show the people.
Yeah.
I think what you just said, man, is like what so many men deal with and struggle with. If we're just honest with ourselves, whose voice is it that and it might be yours, but who created that voice in your head that says you better do and be better? Mm-hmm. And if you don't, you're a failure, right? Mm-hmm. Is it from a parent? Is it from your dad, mom? I don't know. Is it from some kids growing up, sibling? Mm-hmm. But that's keeping you from. But what you actually wanted, even when you were younger, if you think about it, was not accomplishing, but was relationship.
Yeah.
And that person telling you, you did good or whatever it was. It was not about the thing, but it was about their relationship with you.
Yeah.
Man, we want people who hear us and walk with us. And so I think to be understood, to be heard, how you said, like that in the long run is going to be far more life-giving than all these things that I did.
I do think a lot of it is like, there is like this societal, like, media presence, social media of like, oh, it's so easy to succeed now. Right. There's like, at least like, not that it's true, but like, that's just like, there's just like, oh, follow these 5 things and like you can do X, Y, Z, or follow this and you can do that. There's just like this consistent kind of murmur or hum throughout of like culture of like, hey, succeeding if you are set up well isn't like that difficult. And I don't think that's actually true, but I think it's easy to believe that it's true. And so therefore from not doing it, something must be like, something must be really wrong with me or a failure if I can't figure this out.
Yeah, for sure. And I struggle with that, man. Like, I mean, I got 5 kids. I'm in ministry. I mean, it's not bringing in a whole bunch of paper, you know what I'm saying? And so what am I going to leave? Like, I struggle with often, what am I going to leave my kids when they're older? Like, am I going to, you know, like in my head, I'm like, man, I hope that they become engineers and stuff. And they could do that. But that's hard. And it scares me at night sometimes. And I'm just like, I don't know if I should be doing more. I don't know how much I should be leaving my kids financially or whatever that means. And I don't think now as a father, I'm called to care for, provide, and be responsible to my family 100%.
Sure.
I'm not saying I could just do whatever I want out here. But that, like, who's determining what success is, and is enough. And so I think that's what we have to like confront and face. And sure, if there's a way that I can provide more for my kids, 100%. But I struggle with that, man, because especially when I see people, like, I'm not into the stock market and but like I suck with numbers, and it's an area of my life that's just like embarrassing and scares me. We've talked, and when you talk about like, man, you know, I invested in this and I know how, and I'm just all like, dude, you could not trust me with $100 in any sort of investment because I don't know, but I feel like I'm behind. Like, this is what is the thing to do. And it's, to your point, it's easy. It ain't easy for me. I feel stupid when I look at that stuff. And it's just all like, but could this be, and then my head runs. But that could be another means by which you give a little bit more to your family. Man, you could be providing even better. Man, why don't you learn this? Like, and right or wrong, I don't know. But at the same time, like, I'm thankful that I'm in a place, and we could talk about it another time, but like, I didn't start off really wanting to invest even in my family. I wanted to be able to have relationships and do what I wanted, and then try and like be a dad with my kids. You can't have both equally, if you will. And so I think I'm in a place now where it's like, man, I'm seeing myself wanting to build a relationship with my family, with my children, and it's been good. And it comes with sacrifice of gaining more.
No, I think it's really well said, and this aspect of it's so easy to chase.
Would you say there's been a time recently that you've gotten to spend time with someone, a buddy that was just life-giving, and it, in some way, it could have been potentially even at the expense of having more time to be successful or productive?
I mean, so every Tuesday morning I meet with a guy at Waffle House, and we meet from
hash browns.
Usually
All-Star
go
special.
Dude, they've hiked that thing up so expensive nowadays. Back in the day, it was like $5.99 as a go-to, but now it's like,
It used to be $5.99.
It was the best.
I'm not from the South. But
now it's like 13 something, whatever it is. But no, back in the day,
which for the amount of food, I'm still not. I mean, it's a lot, but I'm not mad. And I'm still getting like a whole bunch of food. No, man. Nowadays, do a few eggs, do some hash browns. I will say last time I went, I got the waffle, but I just feel sluggish after the waffle. I'm not sure if I'm getting old or what's going on, but it's just makes me worth it.
Anyways, so we meet up every Tuesday morning from 7 till 9, and really, like, ideally, I start seeing clients at 8 a.m. or 9. And so on a really based upon my schedule, so Monday and Tuesday are the mornings I can see clients the earliest. And so by meeting with him, I am intentionally not meeting with other clients. And so I am aware this is a time that I could be making money. I could be seeing folks. But instead I'm actually going to sacrifice that in order to hang out with this guy, because it's the time that works for best for both of us in our schedules, and it's life-giving. And I am going to intentionally choose this knowing that I am losing out on some time slots for me on Tuesdays. And so, because I only have my office that I rent right now on Mondays and Tuesdays in person. So like, there's an element of like, oh, it's not like I could just make up in person times on other days a week. It's just those days. And so, it's a way that I'm aware of, and I'm still trying to choose it. Instead of being like, oh, forget it, man. I just meet with these folks. And
yeah. So that's great, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So, but yeah, I think I would love to pick up next time and talk more and more about this aspect of when we are together, how do we have in-depth conversations, right? And not just get caught in this trap where we leave and we're like, man, we didn't talk about anything. And so how do we foster that? How do we like lead into that? How do we take initiative to make sure that happens? I think that'd be a good place to talk about next time.
That sounds great.
Cool.
I dig that.
Any final thoughts on the topic of just being a dad, hanging out, community?
Yeah, I think ultimately you're not alone.
Yeah. You're not alone. Before time began, you are on the throne.
Man, I so badly want to sing, and I'm terrified of the note that's gonna come out.
Alexis is actually a pretty good singer.
No,
And guitarist.
I can
Guitarist?
Guitarist. That could have been so funny and so terrible.
Yeah, I held back.
Yeah, that you're. Oh, see, there it is. That you're not alone. I think that probably most of the thoughts that are swirling in your mind about your parenting, about your being a husband, or even just being you, you're not the only one thinking that. And it might come at an expense of people looking at you oddly because they themselves don't know how to communicate that. But when you find those friends, or even that friend, man, it is just so worth it.
Yeah. So get a friend. Communicate with your wife.
You grab them by the shirt and say, "You will be my friend."
Yeah.
That's the first step.
That's first step. Second step.
And if police come, run real fast.
Third step, have a conversation with your wife about, hey, I just got to be honest. I think we both could benefit from more community. How do we kind of make this into our schedule? Don't just throw it on, and not have much more conversation about this. Kind of set it up where it can become much more baked into your all's life. Number 4, take your friend to In-N-Out Burger, order a vanilla milkshake and a burger.
You order a double.
Double. Can I get double?
Whole grilled onions.
With whole grilled.
If you like chopped chilies in there, you do that.
And some chopped.
I'm not a big lettuce person on a burger.
Yeah.
So I actually take the lettuce out.
Yeah.
Get some animal style fries.
Yeah.
And a Neapolitan shake.
Okay. Well,
you're good to go.
In that sense,
and you'll go into a coma right after.
Well, speaking of lettuce, let us end here. That's a good dad joke.
I love it.
Thank you. See y'all.
Peace.